that being said, hopefully this will work out. We are starting to add a special guest right now on the Word on the Street podcast. Hopefully this is working out. MMA fighter, Strikeforce fighter. Hopefully he's on the line right now. Conor Heun, are you there, sir?
How you doing?
Oh, Conor Heun, thank you very, very much for appearing on the Word on the Street podcast. Just to warn you, it is the Wayne's World equivalent of an MMA show here that you're getting into. Just straight up, I'll tell you that right off the bat. Thank you for making time.
But I'm happy to be involved. Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Conor. No, it is great. Ninja and Yao, hopefully you'll mute up so we don't have any bandwidth issues. Like Conor, my worst nightmare is that I'll do a live podcast and then have an actual fighter on, and then have a disaster happen due to the internet somehow. So thanks for actually volunteering to be the actual first MMA fighter guest on the Word on the Street podcast. It might not, it's just a drop in the bucket to you maybe, but you're gonna earn a lot of street cred out of this, I swear to God. On some level. How are you doing?
Street cred. You know what? I quit earning street cred back in 2005 when I moved to LA. I gave up street cred and I said that life is behind it. I appreciate the fact that I'm earning street cred by being your first guest here in 2013. It seems like a nice circular function of the universe, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Oh, you have no idea, man, how happy and thrilled I am that someone actually stepped up from the MMA community to actually help me out, which is what you're doing. And Conor Heun, he is good people for anybody that's listening. Just to give you some background here, a little intro. He is Conor Heun, a professional MMA fighter. He fought for Strikeforce. He is his nickname is the Hurricane. I'm not sure why. I will ask him. He has a winning record, 9 wins. 5 of those wins by submission. He fights in the lightweight 155-pound division. And, most importantly, he represents the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. He trains straight Eddie Bravo 10th Planet shit. Conor, I'll just ask right away, in case you haven't heard, in case anybody hasn't heard out there, Conor recently, after his last fight, he had some health issues. He's had to have some surgeries, just like almost every other MMA fighter eventually does or goes through. So he's been going through that.
You're going to be the first podcast to break this news. I just found out. I announced on
please do.
Today that the UFC has stepped up. Dana and Lorenzo, thank you guys so much, dude. Thank you so much. I know I've been in your sister organization, the little brother, the black sheep over in Strikeforce, but I've been throwing down and trying the type of action cage that fans want to see. Anyone who's ever seen me in a fight can tell you I've never been in a boring fight. And I'm so grateful for you guys stepping up and covering my surgery. It takes a tremendous weight off my shoulders and allows me to just move forward, focus on getting on, and focus on learning the lessons that the universe has for me. But I'm so overwhelmed with gratitude for you guys for what you've done. The insurance company denied my claim, and Lorenzo and Dana said, "What? This kid's been doing this. This is his life. He's been throwing down and scrapping for us, and we wanna help him get back on his feet." And so I found out just yesterday that they're going to cover the cost of the surgeries. I'm still looks like I'm going to be on my own for all the rehab and recovery from here out, but the guys at Zuffa bellied up to the bar to like $320,000 for everything that went down. So, I mean, obviously, my debt of gratitude is tremendous. When I first posted about it on the underground on the internet, the response from Canadians and Europeans was, their minds were blown. They really didn't understand how something like that can happen. How somebody could be stuck with something like that. So, it really opens up the discussion on healthcare, which I personally I know nothing about. The only health care that I know is thank you, Mr. White, thank you, Mr. Fertitta. You are the nurse and doctors that are healing me. So, thanks so much. But I know it definitely opens up a big thing about healthcare and taking care of people, because people in in Canada and the UK were like, if somebody, initially I thought it was 40 grand that I owed. It ended up being 120 for the last surgery that they stepped up and covered, in addition to like 200 on the first one, something like that, something ridiculous. But and the kids in Canada were like, I would walk into the hospital, get that surgery, and go out and buy a new car for that much money. So it's interesting how we do things out here.
No, that's really great, man. That must be like, wow. You said you heard yesterday. That must have been like winning the lottery, basically. I mean, even though like I honestly don't know. I don't know shit about my insurance. I know I have insurance under my company. I have no idea what it would cover or what it wouldn't if shit actually went down. You actually had to go through it.
Yeah, I mean that's
that's
the
UFC actually came through.
Yeah, they came through big time. And you know what I mean? I guess I wouldn't call myself a religious person, but I'd say the spiritual. And you say that must be a huge weight lifted. It's really just a confirmation to my belief, because there was really never a time. It's like I knew that wasn't something that I could deal with. That wasn't something that was possible to happen in my life. I couldn't take on a $120,000 debt at this point in my life. I just knew that wasn't something that was meant for me. And so, yeah, there is a huge weight lifted, but I never accepted that was going to happen. It was like, that can't happen. That's not going to happen. That doesn't work for me. And that's really the way that I've gone through my whole career, was just believing that if I do everything in my power to win, then whatever happens is what's best for me in my life, whether that's a victory, whether that's a defeat. But as long as I give my whole heart, my whole soul to this singular pursuit of greatness or of excellence or purity in one thing, then whatever the universe gives back to me is what I need. And so, yeah, it's a huge weight off my shoulders. It's a huge weight, but more than that, it empowers me to say, fuck yeah. Once again, the universe stepped up. I walked the path with heart, and I was rewarded. And every time that happens, it just strengthens my resolve to move forward, in the most mindful, conscious, highly vibrating way that I can, and to continue to try and bring up, the vibration of the people around me. And it's like when something like this happens where I feel like, oh my God, I'm in the absolute depths, what could be worse? And then, my healing starts to come along. I'm back on my feet. I'm walking without crutches. I've ditched the cane. And then the UFC says, you know what? You deal with getting strong, but we're going to take care of everything up until now. And that's just, to me, it's like, okay, you kept your nose to the grindstone. You didn't lose faith. And once again, you were rewarded. And that's the reason why I got involved in the sport, is because it's one of the purest sports in the world. And it's a place where your actions equal your rewards, where you reap what you sow. And when you put in hard work and dedication, you may not get the victory, but you always get the lesson that was meant for you. And this has proved true time and time again in the cage, and it proved true again here. And I'm just so thankful and so blessed, to be able to experience these lessons, to have the doubts that I have, to hit the lows that I've hit through this sport, but then also see whether the universe supports you.
That is great, man. That is really the best news that I've literally heard in the MMA world all year, all of 2003. The fact that they are taking care of you, man. Because you did fight your ass off for Zuffa. I'll say it right now. You did. I mean, and now, at first, when the initial story rolled out, it sounded like Zuffa and the insurance company, it sounded honestly like they were fucking you. But
Yeah,
they did the right thing, and
you
this is
know, and a
actually
lot of
this
that,
just goes to show that they are one of the best organizations in
yeah,
MMA, though.
yeah,
Do you
they
agree?
step. Oh my, they're the only organization. You know, I mean, yeah, there's Bellator and those fighters are fighters. There's World Series of Fighting. There's plenty of organizations where amazing warriors are getting to bear their hearts. And that's awesome. But the reality is that if you're a fighter, your eye is on a Zuffa contract. That's the golden ticket. That's not in the chocolate factory. I got my golden ticket. I'm a Zuffa fighter. When you get that plane ticket, you get that phone call. We're going to Vegas. You're having the fighter summit, and you're sitting there listening to football greats speak. And you look around the room, and you're surrounded by the who's who, the best of the best, the greatest martial artists on the entire planet. And you're like, I'm sitting here with these guys. The first year I was looking around, and it was like, I'm in the same room with these guys. And then the next year, it was like, some of these guys have seen me fight, and they're thinking, man, I'm in the same room with him. And I'm looking, and it's like, hey, you're amongst the best in the world, and that's rare, and that's beautiful. And I'm so thankful that I got to fight at that level, that I've got to go to those conferences, that I've shed the blood, sweat, and tears with the brothers that I have in this sport. Because Shakespeare said in I believe it was Henry V, that he who today sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. And that's always been true to me. It's hard for me to have the type of close relationships and the respect that I have for the people who I've met through hard training. I've got a lot of friends, but my best friends are my warriors. My brothers who I've bled with, who I've cried with, who I've seen injury with. And I think that's the greatest thing about this sport, is just how it brings warriors together. And I just went to Dwayne Ludwig's going away party here in Denver. He headed out to California to be the coach of Team Alpha Male. And just being at his party, and it was the first time I hadn't been in the gym in a while. I was doing my rehab, and to get in there and talk to Dwayne and Leister Bowling and Elliot Bowling, just being there with my warriors. It's like, man, this is my tribe. I feel at home here, and I'm so thankful that Zuffa brought me into the fold a couple years ago and let me bare my soul and scrap out, and eternally grateful that my body back together after all of it.
And yes, that was that was straight out of the Henry. And I do know, just like me, you did a little English lit back in your day in the college days. So shout out to English lit, definitely, man.
Tell everybody to buy my book.
Oh yeah, actually, do you do you write? What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm a writer. I've got a book coming out. It's called Closed Fist, Open Heart: Memoirs of a Mindful Savage, and it talks about how it's my life story, how I got into fighting, trials and tribulations that I've gone through, and the the evolution of my soul.
Oh, we'll definitely have to pimp that out and get you on to discuss that, because
it'll probably be 2014 finally available and everything's straight, but yeah, keep your eyes out. It's going to be good. Believe me,
books take a long time.
It's no Chael Sonnen recorded into the voice recorder. This is your new walkout song. This is some Chael, I love you to death, but and I appreciate the you don't want to follow because you don't follow anybody. I respect it. I love you and enjoyed your book. If you see what a literary student write, like from the heart, then buy mine because I bought yours.
Word, man. Yes, I happen to believe that Chael wrote every single word with his own hand on that book.
Except
but
for the cover is in partnership with. I guess you missed that.
Oh, that's
part.
right.
Yeah,
well, I didn't miss it. I was just too busy,
No, I understand you got a literary profession to uphold. You're in the public eye. You don't want to any enemies.
Well, I happen to be one of the biggest Chael Sonnen fans of all time.
Just
no holds barred here. But no, I understand, man. But no, with so you're writing a damn book. So I was gonna ask. You were mentioning the Zuffa, being signed to Zuffa is like one of the greatest accomplishments. But obviously, we just witnessed the last Strikeforce event. Now, the Strikeforce fight promotion as a whole, it closed up, and I believe you were under contract with Zuffa and Strikeforce. So how do you feel, even though you've had good news, like you're on a good path now, shit, you got a book coming out, you don't have to worry about medical bills as much, but how do you feel overall about the end of Strikeforce? I mean, did you see it as one door closing with others being open in the future,
Well,
or
listen,
do you take it as like you were? Mhm.
I was gonna say I knew Strikeforce was over as soon as Zuffa bought it. You know, I understand how they do business. Dana's a gangster, and I respect the hell out of those guys. You know, I was a businessman before I moved out to LA and got involved in fighting. I had a t-shirt company and some online different things, and those guys are gangsters, and I respect the hell out of it. But it was like, oh, you know, that's a kiss to death. Everybody was telling me, oh, you're a UFC fighter. I'm like, no, I'm a Strikeforce fighter under Zuffa. And maybe now I get a little bit of insurance if I blow out my knee in practice, and that's awesome. But bottom line is you got to step up to get your rep up, and sooner enough, there's going to be one thing. You know, Anthony Pettis knocked out Ben Henderson in the final WEC thing. Now Anthony Pettis is pretty close to it. Bottom line is when push comes to shove, you want to be the champ, you got to shove. And, I didn't shove. I beat by Ryan Couture. And, they offered me a fight. You know, it's a big organization. I don't think they knew I was still hurt. And they're sad that I even talked about this because they wanted, I don't know who Healy beat up. They wanted that kid to seem like a legitimate contender, so I guess they were kind of sad that I was talking about it, but I'll talk about it. They called me up and offered me to fight with Healy. And I said, well, seeing as I'm sitting on a grip, seeing as I'm sitting on a grip of medical bills.
Wait. They wanted you to fight Patrick Bam Bam Healy at this last Strikeforce event?
Yeah. I mean, you may have to edit this out of your live. I know we're not live now.
Actually, we are. So,
rock and roll. I rock my real face. So, I mean, I already tweeted about it. I went back and I deleted the tweets at the advice of some friends who were close to me. Because before that fight transpired, they wanted whoever Pat ended up fighting to seem like a legitimate contender. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the deal was, you win, you're in the UFC. So that call's going out. But just like Gil avoided the fight, just like Luke Rockhold, like dudes don't want that fight. You go to Strikeforce, you lose, you win, you go to the UFC, you lose, you go home. They're gonna bring KJ along because him and Ryan scrapped it out. That was a hell of a fight. But it's like all the smart fighters said, no, I'm injured. My shoulder's hurt. I'm not getting into some last night fucking monkey show thing. It's like Pat Healy is a fucking gangster. Like, I respect the hell out of the guy. He was supposed to fight for the interim title, could be a title holder right now. Meanwhile, Gil's getting an immediate shot, and I love Gil. Gil's a gangster too. But Pat Healy, all right, you want me to fight some unknown dude who's on a hot win streak coming up on no notice? Sure, I'm a fighter. Give it to me. Almost catches him in a twister, bangs him out. Like, oh yeah, I didn't knock him out. Yeah, that kid's in the fight of life. That kid goes, if I do this today, that's the greatest thing. One day, 15 minutes, and you're a hero. And Pat knows that he's fighting with that mentality. He goes in and says, word up, and grind him out. Pat Healy's a fighter. And they offered me the fight with Pat, and I didn't mean any disrespect by saying, yeah, I'll take it. I knew that, one, no doctor would clear me, and I got a bunch of flack on the internet, some guy saying, listen, you're injured, you're asking for us to help pay your injuries, and you're so stupid that you're going to go in and fight Pat Healy coming off of crutches. Like, no, idiots. I knew that once they figured things out, they weren't going to have me fight Pat. Come on. Like, people are so funny on the internet, but the reality is, they called me up, they offered me the fight because it's a huge organization, and Sean's calling looking for guys to fight Pat, and he knows that every time I come out, I fight and I throw down, and that would have been a hell of a fight. And I'm not a huge name, I'm not KJ Nunes, I'm not Ryan Couture, But a Pat Healy Conor Heun fight is that's a fight that people are going to know. You know, I don't mean any disrespect to the kid who fought Pat, because he stepped up and he survived 15 minutes, and that's a whole lot. And I wish that I had not gotten kicked in the head for a living for the past 6 years, because I remember that kid's name. He deserves me to say it. If you know it, say it.
I honestly don't, man. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'd pay money to see a Conor Heun versus Bam Bam fight. I don't know who Bam Bam beat, even though I saw it with my own eyes a few days ago. I honestly don't remember the kid's name. You have a point.
That's a shame. You know, that's a shame, because that kid came up and went 15 minutes with fucking Pat Bam Bam Healy, who, for all I can imagine, was training for Gil. You know, he said that he had some trouble because he let his weight blow up. But yeah, it's like he sees me tweet. You know, we follow each other on Twitter. He sees me tweet, they just offered me the fucking Bam Bam Healy fight, and I don't take it. He's thinking, oh God, like that's a bottom of the barrel. Conor's fucking injured. They're trying to get me a fight against this kid who's been tweeting about his series of hip surgeries all summer long. Like, I'm not fighting, and he started eating. You know, it's like I feel bad for tweeting that just because Pat probably started eating. You know.
Oh shit. Well, actually, what did you you kind of said a little bit, but what did you think of Pat's performance on the last Strikeforce event? Like, I was expecting him to put that kid away, finish him.
You know what? You have no idea. You have no idea where that kid's head is. You know, that's why I wish I knew that kid's name. I'm a fighter. Like, I understand where that kid's head was at. That kid had you know, there's no way you're gonna put that kid away. That's this kid's whole life, man. That's his one shot. If he beats fucking Pat Bam Bam Healy,
he gets in the UFC. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the fucking UFC. That's his whole life. Like, you don't put somebody away there that much. You know what I mean? It's like, this sport is about heart. It's about caring. Like, when you get knocked out, like, my personal belief is, like, when you get knocked out, it's because your body says, I've had enough. And if you're a hungry enough, bad enough motherfucker, you've never had enough. You know, and you get hit and your body says, nope, I'm giving one back. You know, and it's like, that kid knows that if he wins, there's no way you're taking that kid out. This is the biggest fight of his entire life. He's good enough that they called him, you know. The fact that he got that call meant that somebody saw something in him, because it wasn't like they called everybody. There's a ton of fighters who would have loved to fight Pat Healy. They called him because he was a real contender. And he showed that. Like, oh yeah, we want to see Pat put away some kid we never heard of. That kid is a gangster, you know, like, fuck, I wish I knew his name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. But, like, I get what you're saying. Like, honestly, like, that was his lottery ticket. He just needed to punch it. That's the thing. That was what was so interesting about the last Strikeforce event. Yeah, like, the last Strikeforce event, a lot of people were saying it was the most mismatched event of all, lopsided fights of all time. But I was saying, like, man, you're calling these guys cans.
No.
But these cans know that if they win, these guys are fighting to get in the UFC.
Yeah. People, like, yeah, that upset me. You know, oh, this is a can crusher event. Anybody who gets a phone call to be there, you have to understand, when you get that call and you're the can, that's the biggest opportunity of your life. Like, my best fight was following, I fought a kid named Marlon Matias. It was my first televised fight for Elite XC, and he broke my jaw 2 minutes into the first round. And I ended up winning every round. I beat him. I went back to the corner after the first round, and I could stick my tongue through the side of my mouth. And I thought that I might knock out a tooth because there was a gap over there. And I told my corner, I was like, yo, find my tooth.
Did you know that your jaw was broken?
No, not the tooth. It's my through. I said, find my tooth. And they looked around and they cleaned up my face or whatever. My buddy goes, there's no tooth. So I put my mouth guard back in on the top, and then I bit down and I felt my jaw go clunk back together. I had to stick my tongue through the hole where the missing tooth was supposed to be, and it was gone because my jaw was back together. And I told the corner, I go, yo, I broke my jaw. And Riley goes, all right, well, don't worry about it now. I said, all right. Went out there and banged the next 2 rounds. And at the end, my coach is like, dude, it's probably a good thing you broke your jaw, because he was hitting you in the jaw so much. It was probably, if, like, your jaw was still connected, it would have, like, hit that nerve behind your ear and knocked you out. So it's really good that happened. So that's probably the only reason you won that fight. Needless to say,
so you didn't get knocked out because your jaw was supposedly unhinged?
Yeah.
I've never heard that one before.
That's why.
Oh, shit.
That's why I get knocked out. It's because my broken jaw has nothing to do with my heart. You know.
I did actually look that up. I looked up your fight record. I was gonna ask, just because like I said, you're the first MMA fighter that I've ever had the pleasure of interviewing on the Word in the Street podcast. So I will hit you up with random ridiculous questions. How closely do you know your fight record? Like, do you know, like, obviously you know the total, but do you know, like, who you fought when and where, what round, what was the time? How closely do you analyze your fight record?
You know, I really know the dates because of trying to post things on Facebook, and I only know them because of Shirt Dog. It's like, I'll go back, I've got a public Facebook page that I try and, like, upload videos to and, like, put photos up from fights, and, like, slowly I've been adding to it so that somebody who, you know, is interested in me can go there, watch all my fights, read all my blogs, see the pictures, you know, everything like that. But so when I go there and it's like, okay, you know, it's a weekend and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to upload some stuff, it's like I Google myself, I go to Sherdog, I look at Sherdog, I say, what date, what arena, you know, I know the guys' names, but I don't, you know, and I know the cities, but I don't know the arenas and I don't know the dates, you know, I know the stories. That's why I'm writing the book. Is the whole journey has just been nuts, and like when I'm hanging out with my buddies, all my friends on podcasts now, and their podcasts are blowing up, and it's like I listen to them, it's so fun. It's like I'm just hanging out with my buddies again. But I realize that there's like a market for this. Like people, you know, that most people go to the Cube every day. You know, it's like car, work, car, home, dinner, kids, bed, car, work. You know, over and over again, and you know, they'll live for the weekend. And the fact that I've been able to have, you know, pretty much my whole life. You know, I had my own business. I worked briefly in sales in LA. I had my first fight. I won. I requested a leave of absence. They said no. I quit. You know, so my corporate life was very short. So I've had, you know, a very full, rich life with all these fucking crazy stories. And, you know, I listen to my buddies on these podcasts, and it's like, yeah, I can talk. I like the podcast, but I went to school to be a writer. And, you know, and writing speaks to me, and I see a beauty in prose. And for me to be able to sit down and write, that's, you know, it's like free therapy. And if then I can go ahead and turn some of that stuff that I've put out there into, you know, some income, that's beautiful. You know, podcast, yeah, you know, I'll come in a radio show. Obviously, I enjoy talking. I enjoy telling my story. But for me, putting it down, you know, black and white, flat black words on a clean white page, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, with writing, like, you never have to worry about the stutter. You never have to worry about being on the spot. You get to formulate your thoughts and put it down. I love that. Like, shout out again as an English lit major myself.
Where'd you go to school?
That, man. That's Texas State University. I live in Austin, Texas.
Is that the Longhorn?
That would be the University of Texas in Austin. Yeah, Texas State is like 20 miles away.
Is that Austin?
Yeah, it's like yeah, Stubbs, dude, Stubbs Barbecue. Hell yeah, man. You ever been to Austin?
Only been to Austin. Yeah, I've been there once. I came to see a Ween show at Stubbs.
Oh shit! Yeah, that is downtown Austin. Stubbs is great.
My ex-fiance, ex-girlfriend, MMA fighter Thea Wolf took me to see her favorite band, her Art Love, Ween, down in Austin. We had a blast, and yeah, Stubbs was really my only Austin experience. But you know, I like to keep Austin weird stuff. Austin seems like sort of a southern sister city to Boulder, where I grew up. So.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, where are you right now? Wikipedia says you're based out of Boulder, Colorado. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm in Boulder. That's where I grew up. Since my surgery.
Now?
Yeah, I came back. I went to my parents, and they took care of me. My mom fucking puts my vitamins on the kitchen counter, you know, every morning. I got my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, vitamins, and my family takes real good care of me. So yeah,
that's
basically, I
awesome.
was out in LA. Legends, where I was living and training, closed, sort of on short notice. So I went up to Seattle to train a little bit at Ivan Salivari's. Trained up there. I had flights out of LA going to soon to be my business partner Tim Shirley's wedding. So we drove back down. We flew out of LA. Tim, he's a brown belt out in Pennsylvania. I think it's Daniel. I can't remember his instructor's last name. He always just calls him Daniel. But he's been wrecking shop as a gi brown belt, originally out of Zingano, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Broomfield. So he and I, we worked out together in high school. He was my best friend. And we're going to be opening up a gym here in the next 2 years. He will be a gi black belt by that time. I will be a 10th Planet no gi black belt. It'll be the only school in the world with a 10th Planet lineage black belt and a original, Zingano. I don't know who he goes up to, but original gi, traditional BJJ lineage. It's going to be the only school in the country with 2 black belts, one from 10th Planet and one from a Gracie lineage. And then, of course, I've got my MMA chops. Yeah, it's going to be the real deal for real.
Now, you spoke the words 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I know your fighting style seems to be more Jiu-Jitsu and grappling submission based. You train the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu system created by my Shidosi and sensei, I'm sure yours too, Eddie Bravo. Shout out. How did you end up hearing about the 10th Planet and training that particular system anyway? Like, can you give us a little background? Are you close with Eddie Bravo? How'd you get into that shit? What's up?
Eddie's my ace, man. Eddie saved me from a life of corporate drudgery. Like I said, I moved after college. I went to school out in Ithaca, New York, and I wrestled out there. Never really did what I wanted to. Struggling with academics, struggling with just growing up, personal issues, basically trying to rededicate myself after dedicating my whole life to winning a state title from the time I was 5 till the time I was 18. And, falling short of that goal really sort of threw me for a loop. And it took me a while to rededicate myself to MMA. So college wasn't really, my focus wasn't as dedicated as it could have been. So after college, I moved home and I opened up a t-shirt shop, and I was doing some stuff out here. And the girl I was dating graduated college from CU and was moving to LA. So she moved out there. I took the time to sell my business and then moved out there following her, and got a job selling dental equipment, working in a cube, and they kind of got me. They kind of tricked me. I came in on casual Friday and did my job interview, and I saw all these guys in like jeans and t-shirts and baseball hats, and like they were on the phones, but I was like, these guys are cool. Like, they're wearing t-shirts. This can't be that bad, But it was casual Friday and didn't even realize it. So I signed up and, 3-assed my salary and was getting good money. And I came in, I had to wear a suit and tie every day, and it was just eating my heart. And, killing me. So I called my buddy, kid Ryan Ciatoli. He runs Bump Squad MMA up in Syracuse and in Ithaca. It was actually John Jones's first coach. But so I was talking to him. I was like, man, I got this job. Like, I'm doing good. I got benefits and whatnot, but I want to mix it up. And he's like, there's a dude out there named Eddie Bravo, and he's got this jiu-jitsu style. Well, you don't even have to wear that silly costume. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you don't have to wear the fucking karate suit? He's like, nah, it's like wrestling. They use overhooks and underhooks. They're not a bunch of pussies. And I was like, word up, I'll hit it up. So I went on his website and called him, and he's like, what's your background? And I was like, nah, I've been wrestling since I was 5. He's like, come in. I'll see you tonight. I was like, all right. And I went in and, I tapped probably a bunch of his guys, and, he wrecked me. The first time I rolled with him, he actually popped the plate off my elbow because he caught me in a bicep slicer. And I'd rolled a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and I've been watching. No, I've been watching UFC since like the early UFCs. So like Tim Shirley, that kid who I'm starting the gym with, like when we were 12, like he was my homie since 7th grade. So we would buy like Easton bag gloves because they had the free thumb, like before you could buy MMA gloves, so that we could still grapple, and we could just scrap, like, and we'd try stuff. He liked jujitsu. I mean, not no, back then he didn't know. He liked Jeet Kune Do. He was the Bruce Lee guy, and we'd do that. We'd play Street Fighter. He'd beat me, and so we'd start real fighting. But it was like, so I've been, watching it from the get-go, but I never really had straight up instruction, but I've been playing around with it for a long time. And then so Eddie, he caught me like armbar, so I locked my hands, and he slapped on this the bicep slicer from the truck, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just thinking like, this is a pain move, like, because I just tapped a whole bunch of retards with neck cranks, you know what I mean, like,
yeah,
taking a vesting move and just making it illegal, like putting a full Nelson on, and guys are tapping. And I was like, oh, he probably expects like I'm just gonna tap like the rest of these kids I just tapped. But no, of course, that's a real submission, and I'm looking, all of a sudden it pops, and I'm like, okay, tap, and my hand's numb, like my whole forearm's numb. I ended up going to like a chiropractor and getting it damaged. Like, I'll be cool. So like 6 months later, I could feel my hand again. But it was like I definitely like, because Eddie, he was cool. He wasn't trying to mess me up. It's not like a gym where you.
Connor, hopefully you're back. It looks like we had a little connection issue. Are you there, sir?
Wow,
Connor?
buddy. Yeah, I was just rambling on. I have no idea where I lost.
No, you were talking about just the whole Eddie Bravo experience. Like, I was asking you if he was legit or not, how you got to come up with the plan, and you said he actually did put the hurt move on you, man. Like, holy shit. I guess you slapped down enough of his students, he had to set some sort of example.
No. I was working with their guys, and he wanted to see, how I was, because I had like, I wasn't a newbie, I'd been in back home, like I was 112 pounds my senior year in high school, so I was tiny, but I had a big mouth, and back in probably 5th grade, I learned like, I had a kid who was a bully on the football team, slapped me in the face with his cleats. He was punking me out in front of all friends, and I was terrified of him. I thought he'd, beat my ass. And
always in front of the friends.
Oh yeah, and so my pops picks me up. We're driving home, and I'm crying about it. And he points it out over the side of the, the truck. He's like, "Isn't that him right there?" Like, like, yeah. He's like, well, fucking get out and handle it. None of his friends now. And so I was like, oh my God, I was terrified. But I knew like my pops was there, so he's not going to stomp me out. Like I know my dad's not going to let me get curbed or something, So I stepped out of the car and I stepped into the street in front of him. He was like on the sidewalk. I put my hands up and squared up with him, and just sort of lowered my chin. I didn't say anything, and he just walked around me, like swerved out, took a big wide look around me, and it was like I was standing there. I didn't even turn around. Like he walked past, and I was like, just like breathing, listening. Like I didn't even want to turn around. Like if he was going to try and pump it, it seemed like I was like real cool about it. Because like I was so scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like,
yeah.
It's like he walked around. I was like, oh, like like I gotta listen, because if he's gonna try and blind me like one of my dads there, and that's some pussy shit. Like my dad might probably help just blindside me, but I was just
no. But you got out there and you stepped up, man.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like I always noticed. Yeah. Like did he back down? What happened?
Yeah, no, he just walked. He just walked, and I couldn't believe it. Because I mean, to me, it was he was a big bad boy. He was he was the bad man. And it was like, what? I was shaking. I got back in the car, and it was like, I went home, and it's like, I've been crying myself to sleep thinking about that kid picking on me, and it was like, all of a sudden I was like, yo, like, it's like, yeah, it was an illusion. I just realized that like all this fear that I had was just made up in my head. And that's really been the theme sort of for my whole journey as a martial artist, and hopefully my journey into teaching is just that don't believe everything you think. That's the best advice that my father ever gave me. He said, don't believe everything you think. And that's true. So much of our worries, so much of our doubts, so much of all the things that, cause high blood pressure, that cause stress, that cause all these, dis-ease in our life is based upon the things that we think without any basis on it. It's like we think something and we allow ourselves to believe it. It's like we watch TV all day and you have these images pumped into your house. It's like, the Sandy Hook shooting. I know there's Eddie is tweeting some videos. I'm not even trying to speak about anything that happened there, but when you allow the news of a disaster like that to come through a little box that you keep in a corner of your house, or you turn on your computer, or you turn on your radio, and some little electronic box in your house tells you something that affects your heart in that way, and arises an instinct and such a response from you, you have to question why you allow that box in your house. Why would you allow something in your house that makes you feel uncomfortable, that makes you worry, that makes you bring these ideas of terror and drama into your life? Because if I didn't have TV, I've never seen somebody murdered. I've had some friends who've committed suicide, but I've never seen a man take another man's life. And as a young individual, as a young kid growing up, you see that all the time. And so you believe that people take other people's lives, and so you become a fearful person. And I just really believe if we only looked at the things that we see with our own two eyes instead of what is pumped in and what we're told, it's like the world would be a much different place, because I thought this Billy was going to beat my ass. And I was sure, like, okay, I'm going to get my ass kicked, but, it's better than acting like a punk in front of my dad, and that's better than being a punk for the rest of my life. Like, okay, so maybe I get beat up, and he says, hey, kid, you're pretty tough. Like, why don't you join my crew? Something. I stepped up and he walked around me, and I realized, all these threats, all these things that we see, all these things that seem, larger than life and terrifying, they're not real. And you allow it to become real far too easily. It's like someone tells you something, someone sends you a link, you pay for television to your house, you watch these things, and oh my God, my heart hurts. Why does your heart hurt? Because something that this box pumped into your house. What did you see today? When you walked down to the coffee shop, did you see a woman hand a homeless man some money? Did you see kindness? Because we get these things pumped in, and I'm not saying that we should, disconnect the universe and not have an understanding of what's going on a global scale, because we should, and that stuff's scary. But when, now we're having this gun control debate, everything, it's like all of a sudden, there's, the Constitution is as old as our country, and we get something on the news pumped through this box in our house, and now all of a sudden we're questioning the Constitution that was designed by our founding fathers, decades ago, because of something pumped into your house that you chose to watch, as opposed to how you really feel. I don't know.
No, you've got a good point, man. No, you've got a good point. No, I honestly, I was thinking about something similar. Like, I get more satisfaction out of like every day, like when I'm watching the TV, which I have on all the time, I get no satisfaction out of it. I never walk away from it feeling good, but every day when I just make the trip from like my office to this convenience store, I know the people there, I know the people working. Every day I just buy something. I buy a fucking Powerade, or maybe it's Austin, Texas. Maybe I buy up some rolling papers, perhaps. But I talk to these people.
When you guys going legal?
Interesting. Basically, it's decriminalized. We're getting there, man. I'm working on it, dude. Yeah, I'm definitely. I'll bring that up in a second, for real. But yeah,
we're Prop
when I'm
68.
going to the convenience store, word on the street, hell yeah. But the convenience store, just alone, I know the guys just make it, like, just interacting with the people in there, like, it's people being nice to each other, opening the door for each other.
Yeah.
Like, letting people go first who have more shit to carry. You don't see shit on
that's
TV.
Why I hate TV.
All TV is just negative ass shit.
Yeah, I quit watching. Like, honestly, like, you'll see me tweet. I don't know. I think we follow each. I know I follow you on Twitter. It's like I don't have a
I
TV in my
got you,
house. I
man. I
never
got you
watch
too.
TV. So if I'm ever watching TV, I'm tweeting up a storm because I'm in absolute shock of what I'm seeing.
Oh
It
hell
was like
yeah.
I never watched. It's like the other night I was watching uh True Life, like True Life, my vagina doesn't work. True Life, it was the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. Like
My
Teen
dad pimped
Mom, like
me out.
oh
True
my god,
life.
oh god, I was watching MTV and I was like no wonder. Like oh my god, like I remember the first time I saw MTV. I was over at my homie's house. We were playing Nintendo Power Pad. We were running on the track, getting our workout in, putting in work, hustling. And we took a break, and it was like Learning to Fly by Pink Floyd, like some baller ass shit. A dude diving off Tom Petty,
Hell yeah.
diving off a cliff and turning into an eagle. Like that was what I was watching.
Bigfoot
Like I
sighting
was
shit.
doing work and then watching a man turn into an eagle and learn to fly. That was some motivational stuff. Now you got Chief Keef and frickin' World Star Hip Hop and COD. I don't even know. I can't play these new video games. I can't really talk shit about them, but I'm a Street Fighter 2 kid.
No, I hear you. Like, the internet has more legit videos than you're gonna see on TV, for damn sure. On the news, for damn sure. So I'll stick with the internet at least for the mindless entertainment and videos. But yeah, this morning I actually had to watch Obama sign the gun control laws and executive orders
What?
without Congress, without anything, and with a bunch of little kids standing behind him. It was pathetic to me, at least.
No. Honestly, like this is retarded, and you follow me on Twitter. Depending how close you follow me, I tweet a bunch of stuff, and I wake up the next morning and I go back and delete all the things that I don't believe are in my highest vibration. So if you kids do follow me, and
that's why that's why I make it clear that I smoke weed straight up. I know you're not in that position, but yeah, I get what you're saying, dude. But yeah, sometimes you tweet something ridiculous. Everybody does. Who hasn't wanted to take back a tweet?
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. I used to say I don't delete tweets because I'm trying to live with integrity. But integrity also means being able to censor yourself, being able to look back. And one of the things that I've learned, very recently, I used to believe never give up. That was my motto. That was on my father's office wall. There was a picture of a stork with a toad's beak strangling it, and it said never give up. And that was it. I was like, okay. Once I turned over a leaf, I said I'm living with integrity. I'd never lie, and I never give up. And I realized, that's a soldier's mentality. That's not a general's mentality. That's a soldier who never give up. Yes, sir. March forward, retard. No, I'm an intelligent individual, and I've been given a mind to address every individual situation as an individual situation and look at it and determine the best way to move forward. And I realized that whole idea of never give up.
And as an English lit student, you have the right and ability to edit yourself.
Yeah, completely. It's like, there was, at first there was this idea, it's like, I got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm living, 100% transparent, 100% honest, 100% open. Okay, well, what does that mean? So I allow people to see the worst of me too? Well, I should have the ability to edit myself and present the public image that I want. And the way I balance that out, and I've tweeted before, if you want my highest self, follow my Facebook public page. That's pure, that's pure my highest shit. That's what I think about. This is what I want to put out there. Check this. And I say, Twitter, that's me wilding out. And I had a friend who I admire very much and said, you know what? We should always have a filter. You saying this is you unfiltered. It's like, do you want that? And I thought about it and I said, nah, I don't think I do want that. It's like what Yeah, when I put out Stoke, when I'm sad, I put out sad. No, I'm gonna understand that I have an effect on the pain, and that the things that I voice to or tweet, that has a repercussion energetically throughout the sphere. And it's like, I tweeted the other night, I used to be a professional fighter for an organization called Strikeforce, and all I got for it was this verified blue check. And that sounds like, oh, woe is me. And I was kind of putting that as a joke, but fuck, I'm stoked. And my homie, Ambi and Jackson, follow him on Twitter. He's my boy from LA. He's a soldier and knockout artist. He's been in the thick of it. He fought shark fights. He's my ace. He's training with me day in and day out. He knocks dudes out. I don't do that on my thing. He knocks dudes out. And he said, man, there's guys like me who've been fighting their whole life for that blue check. Like, keep your head up. And a lot of people are like, oh, keep your head up. So I got to think, like, I didn't mean to put that out there, like, oh, woe with me. I follow a bunch of funny people on Twitter who just tell jokes, and so sometimes I get caught up with that energy, just making people laugh, So.
No, but I get what you're saying. Like Ronda Rousey tweets the Sandy Hook video, just saying, interesting. That's all she said about it. And
and people are all over.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even really touch on that. Yeah, I don't.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I don't know why she did.
The deal is that,
but I'm.
Well, no, because she is who she is, and part of her, like, she's doing good, man. She's the female Chael Sonnen, and she's 10 times as bad as he is.
I don't think she understands yet that she is a UFC champion right now, and what comes along with that.
But man, she's doing a hell of a job. I don't think she understands, man. I don't know. Yeah, maybe John Jones didn't understand. I love John, man. I trained him at Jackson's. It's like you thrust a person in the formative stages of their life. They're figuring out what their beliefs are, and you force them to speak on it. That's such a hard place to be. My dad's one of my greatest spiritual teachers. He's considering himself a Buddhist now. He was raised Catholic, and he meditates daily. And he's really somebody who I look up to when I'm trying to find equanimity and things of that nature. And he's spoken to me about Twitter and said, it's hard to listen to the silence in your heart when you're constantly broadcasting the noise in your mind.
Yeah.
And I think that when there's these people and we're encouraged, we go to those meetings. Like I said, going to the Zuffa meeting in Vegas, and looking around at the other guys at the table and saying, I'm sitting at the same table, and they talk to, get on Twitter, broadcast this, be the biggest Twitter star, and you got and buying followers, getting Twitter bonuses, you got, it's like, Twitter, Miguel Torres getting fired for a tweet.
Son. Hold on a minute, Connor. I think you might have some word on the street here. Are you saying there may or may not be a Twitter bonus?
Yeah, there's definitely a Twitter bonus. It's public. Yeah, it's public.
Any details you can? I never.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. The every quarter, most original tweet gets, or most original tweeter gets. I don't know the money. I tried to go out for it. But, there's, like, most original tweeter, most new followers, and they're based on followers. So, like, I don't have to compare Anderson Silva. It's somebody under 10,000 followers. You guys are in one contest. 10,000, 20,000, you guys are in one contest. Yeah, there's Twitter bonuses galore. Yeah, that's ridiculous nonsense when Miguel Torres tweets a Always Sunny in Philadelphia joke direct off of FX that the UFC fights on, and they fire him for his joke.
Yep. Yeah, that was bullshit. And then, like,
Now
especially when they give Forrest
let me be
Griffin a pass for
you
another
got
rape joke,
you
like,
guys.
days later.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, UFC, I love you guys. You clown shoes, fight making motherfucker. Love you. It's entertainment. I love the sport.
They
I
are the
started
best.
watching it early, and hell yeah, Stephen Bonner juiced out of his gourd in Brazil. I love it. We got Chael Sonnen,
The
mouthpiece
juice
of the
was
universe.
loose.
Yeah, the juice was loose in Brazil. You know, I love it. It makes it even better. Like Andrew Silva beats juiced out fucking D-bags all day long.
I read some
Prior
statistic that, like, more than half of
fight.
I read that, like,
That's
more than half of
that
Silva's
was
opponents have been juiced, and he's beaten them,
yeah,
which is, like,
I
all
love
credit to Silva for not getting caught. But, like who is
I
anybody kidding,
don't
man?
listen. Silva's not juiced. If you know the
Oh,
you
come
know
on,
it's like the
man.
guy. You think Silva's juiced?
You think he's what, 37, 30, almost 30? How old is he? 38 years old, and he's still in, like, the shape to kick the crap out of guys that are juiced and just maybe time their cycles wrong. I'm just keeping it real here on the word in the street, man. Like,
No. I hear
Silva's
that.
doing that Brazilian
Listen,
bomba, dude. That Renato Laranja shit, man.
the bomba,
The Brazilian bomba.
the bomba.
Hell yeah, from Renato
Listen,
Laranja. He's slinging that shit left
what
and right. But I'm saying maybe they got some shit in Brazil that maybe sneaks under the
Labaja
radar. Maybe Anderson Silva had
has
it figured out just right. Who knows? Maybe he is a natural
no.
fighter.
Look at him.
I don't
Look at
know.
him. Does he look? Does he look juiced? Look at the guys he fought. Look. I mean, just use your eyes. You know, it's not hard to tell looking at someone's physique when they make
That's
a dramatic difference. Anderson Silva does not look different. Anderson
he
Silva.
does natural. He does. That's what's so scary to me. Do you think he's actually, like, the best legit, like, fucking fighter on the planet, dude? That's my worst fear. 'Cause, like, I'm a Chael Sonnen fan, but do you think Anderson Silva is legit the best fighter? Do you think he just handpicks his opponents? What's your take on the middleweight champion, the best in the business, pound for pound fighter in the world?
I think he's the best in the world. I think that he's at a place he said he didn't want to fight. He was uninspired when you guys saw him dancing with was it Damien Maya, who was when
Yep,
he fought
112.
his
UFC 112, Demi and Maya. Just
yeah,
toying with him, clowning him the whole
listen,
fucking time.
no, listen. When I saw that and people started hating on Anderson Silva, yes, Anderson Silva is the best in the business, and he is over the violence. That's, I mean, I'm moving towards a coaching stage of my career. I'm discovering that the lessons that are the most important lessons, the lessons that you get involved in martial arts to learn, learned in the cage. Those are lessons that for someone like me, I learned very, very young. And, you know, I'm blessed to be able to demonstrate the knowledge learned in those young lessons in the cage in front of people so that people can see my heart. But what Anderson Silva did in that fight is he was put up against a lesser opponent who he had respect for from his own country, and he chose not to disseminate him. And people jumped on his back. Why didn't you kill him? Why didn't I kill him? Because he wasn't worthy of dying. He wasn't worthy of dying at my hand. And Anderson Silva is a real soldier, a real samurai. And that's, you know, to me, you can announce it. Conor the Hurricane Heun is retired. You will never see the Hurricane fight in the cage again. You may see this body cage again, but you will never see the Hurricane fight again. It was time for the Hurricane to retire after I beat Magno Almeida. I had demonstrated everything that I wanted to demonstrate in that fight, and it was time to go. And this is my job, and this is what I do for a living, and they called and they offered me a fight with Couture, and I said, sure, let's go. But it was time to go because I had nothing left to prove. And I strongly believe that the path of the martial artist is to gain knowledge, to learn, to evolve. And I feel that when you're still caught up in the martial arts and the arts war with destruction on your mind, that there are certain lessons, that there are certain teachings that you're not yet worthy to learn. And so, for the time being, while I rehab, and certainly Conor the Hurricane Heun, that angry young kid who grew up on the streets of Boulder, Colorado, fighting out of rage and out of pain and out of hurt and out of fear, you'll never see him fight again. I might fight again. This body might fight again. But that person is dead.
That was what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you what your ideal plan for 2013 is. If I had to guess, I mean, you just said it, you obviously want to recover as quickly as possible. That's got to be your bottom line for 2013, just recovering, getting your health back. I was going to ask, do you see yourself getting back to fighting condition this year and possibly even competing again and taking a fight? Or are you just like living day by day, like fucking Rambo style, man?
I will be back in fighting shape this year for certain. I'm supposed to be 100% in June, all I do all day is work out. All I do is train. I do my exercises. I do my meditation. I roll out on the foam roller. I see my acupuncturist. I go to, that's all I do. But will I fight this year? Absolutely not. The deal was the Heun fought his fight against Almeida. When I fought Couture, I was trying to fight as my new self, as a new person who doesn't have a fight nickname. I was trying to fight as the evolved version of myself. And I wasn't prepared to fight a fighter of Ryan's caliber with that new version of myself. The way that I go out and I have fought before is to walk out and to impose my will. You could talk to Morrow or Frank or any of the guys who interviewed me before that, and they would have told you to bet on Ryan because I was talking crazy. I said, I want to go out here and I want to open my heart. It's one thing to open your heart to love, but it's another thing to open your heart to violence. And that's where I want to be at. I'm going to open my heart so I can feel what he's bringing energetically, and I want to move and react. And Ryan's footwork and hand speed is too fast for that, man. To go out against a guy of his caliber and try and become a counterpuncher and react in one fight, that's absolutely ridiculous to think that I could go out and do that. But like I said, I'm not in the sport anymore to get a title. I'm in the sport for anybody else. That fight was a fight for me, and I lost, and it was beautiful. I saw that fighting as the person I was trying to fight at versus a fighter of his caliber was a losing situation. And I was blessed, and I was happy, for that to happen for Ryan. My dad was in my corner the fight before. When I fought Almeida, and he was frightened and, quite frankly upset by the person he saw out there. He wondered, what he had done wrong that made me a person who had such little regard for his physical well-being.
His dad?
And asked me if he wanted to, if I wanted him in my corner versus Couture. And I said, no, it wasn't that time anymore. When I fought Berto in Florida, I told you that was my best fight. His dad was in his corner, and when I was finishing him, his dad was yelling at him, Edson, get out, Edson, get out, and telling the ref, he's okay, Edson, get out. And I was in his eyes, and no, he wasn't okay.
You don't want to hear,
and that fight, I was like, that was the beginning of the end. I won the fight. I was a 7-1 underdog. I went back in the back, and I cried my eyes out for an hour after that fight.
That was like your I believe that was
my
one
biggest victory. Yeah.
Yeah, was that your first TKO victory?
My only knockout victory.
Yeah. Oh shit, and you
know,
felt
and
bad
I went
about
back.
it. That's crazy.
I was like,
No, I hear you, man. No, I honestly, like, if I was gonna fight, I would not want my family there. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, knowing your family's watching and your friends, man.
Well,
how fucked up is that?
So I gave my family and friends, my dad and my little brother were in my corner for the fight versus Almeida. Greg, I was out at Jackson's, and Greg was going to come, but then Gina dropped off the card, and Edsy fell off the card, and those are his homegirls, you know. And, you know, I've been new. So I said, Greg, girls aren't fighting. You're probably not coming out, right? And he's like, nah. And I was like, all right, cool. No worries. He's like, you need somebody to come out? And I said, no, Ike Valley Flag.
Greg Jackson's MMA, ladies and gentlemen, just shout out.
No, listen, that's not, you know, I was a new kid there, you know. Everybody comes to Jackson's trying to fight. You know, like, that wasn't anything negative about Greg. You know, after that fight, you know, Greg was super stoked. But the deal was, you know, that was really the last fight that I fought for my people. You know, my little brother and my dad were in the corner. It was just us. You know, Tom Kong Watson, he was cornering Ike, so he came out for me, and you know, he was the guy in the cage with me, because you know, he knows how to fight. He's a great guy. He's awesome. But so I did that fight.
Holy shit, he does. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Kong. It was great because I cornered Matt Horwich against Tom in England, and so for then him to corner me, that's really what the sport is about to me. It's just brothers, you know. It's like I
haven't seen that fight. Give me? Hold on. Matt Horowitz fought him. What? Give me the spoiler.
Yeah, what?
I'll look it up on YouTube later.
Have you ever seen Horowitz fight?
Not that I can remember. I've just seen him,
bro.
Honestly, on the Eddie Bravo videos, man. The 10 Planet shit.
Listen,
is he good?
He's a crazy dude. He is a fucking soldier. It is such a shame that, you know, I don't know what his, you know, DVSM style manual for diagnosis is. You know,
the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. Oh, shout out. Yes.
You know, I don't know what the official write-up is, but Matt Horwich is a soldier and is a warrior of light. And that I mean that every day he tries to inspire people. He lets his path as a fighter motivate anyone else who's walking their own path. And I love Matt. And he is an absolute gift to the sport, man. He speaks from his heart, and you know, it's easy to watch him, and he's a very unusual guy, and he smells funky. And Matt, I love you. You know, I love you. Man, he's a funky motherfucker, and I'm not gonna lie, but I know, because he goes to the store and he buys heads of garlic and heads of broccoli and just grubs that shit, and then goes to train. Like, he'll eat he'll eat like you know, a gallon of water and a whole ass sprig of broccoli, like the size of, you know, like a Subway 12-inch sandwich, giant ass stalk of broccoli where like half of it is a stalk, and a grip of garlic. And it's like, yeah, you smell funk as fuck, but you put
He's like that fucking contraption that Doc McFly put on the back of the fucking DeLorean at the end of Back to the Future, right? And fed it like vegetables and beer cans. That's Matt Horwich, is what you're telling me.
No, I love Matt Horwich. If you guys don't follow him, you know, follow him on Twitter, Matt Horwich. He's training down at King's MMA. I miss him. I love the guy to death. He's one of the most intelligent individuals I ever had the chance to speak with.
That's actually what I've heard, man. Yeah, that's actually the word on the street that I've heard. Like, I've seen his videos, you know, Eddie Bravo puts him out. He's just, blah, 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 whatever the fuck he's talking about. But, like, he actually is deep. And if you actually listen to the words coming out of his fucking mouth and pay attention, your life will be changed. I agree with that, man.
No, Matt's an awesome kid, man, and he's, you know, he's Christian. You know, he's devoutly Christian, which is awesome. It's a spiritual path. I think that anyone who follows a spiritual path where they say I'm trying to live to some code or some idea to bring me to a higher good, I think that's always valuable. It's not a spiritual path that I prescribe to or subscribe to, particularly myself now. You know, I was a born again Christian in college, but there's a lot of judgmental stuff in that religion, and a lot of hate and things that I really couldn't prescribe to or subscribe to. I don't know what you're the English
Yep,
yeah,
definitely. Once it becomes organized, it is not fucking legitimate to me. That's my opinion.
Yeah, once you
I
start
get what you're
passing the
saying.
tray, I'll let you go, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Oh yeah, definitely. Conor, yeah, thank you for being the first MMA fighter. And yes, I just wanted to, oh man, yeah, thank you for your time. I just wanted to get real quick, your opinion, since you fought both Ryan Couture and KJ Nunes. Just real quick, what was your take on the controversial fucking decision that went to Ryan Couture, the seat of the natural? What was your take on that, real quick?
Well, I thought Ryan won round 1. I thought KJ won round 2, and I thought, listen, I thought Ryan won rounds 1. I don't even know. I got to watch it so many times. I thought Ryan won round 1 and 2. I thought KJ fucked him up in the second. I don't like the current scoring system.
Did you think it was a robbery? Come on.
No, I didn't think it was a robbery. No. If you let it go to the judges, that's what's up, dude. It's like, no, I don't think it's a robbery. Let it go to the judges. That's what happens. Like, people need to fight to finish. And I love KJ now after I saw him fight Masvidal. But before that, I would, KJ, straight up, respect. Before that, I would have called KJ a fucking bitch, dude. I was super sad about the way he fought. Fucking running backwards, backpedaling off Diaz, throwing up his fingers after you bust Diaz's eyes. Like, oh, you're the champ. You got lucky, finished Eves. Like, I had a lot of animosity towards that. Like, if you want to be a counterpuncher, knock motherfuckers out. Watch Chuck Liddell knocks dudes out moving backwards. You never hear anybody call Chuck Liddell a fucking point fighter. Fuck you, point fighters. Yeah, I'm a retard.
That's what I'm talking
I like to march forward throwing bombs. When I play Street Fighter 2, yeah, I could sit there and throw fireballs all day and win. No, I jump in and I throw frickin' uppercuts. I want to get after it.
That's what I don't like that
fucking bitch shit. That's why I'm elevating. Hurricane's dead. You're never going to get to see Hurricane fight again. When I fought Ryan Couture, that was me trying to fight as a more elevated version of myself, and I wasn't anywhere near the level to deal with somebody like Ryan. He's an amazing fighter, and I tried to fight him as the next version of myself, and I got my ass kicked.
That doesn't mean that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you had to pick right now, like, as soon as you're healthy and ready to go, you will be healthy and ready to go, in my opinion. He will be. Conor Heun, look out for him, ladies and gentlemen. But when you are ready, whose ass do you want to kick? Ryan Couture or KJ Nunes?
I don't want to kick anybody's ass, man. That's if my evolution gets to a place, I tweeted something a while back. It said, am I always going to remain the angry young child that wants to smash everything? Or will the world change so that my anger once again serves me? And that was not giving any weight to the fact that I could change. And that's retarded, because I am changing. And I don't have the animosity that I used to have. And when I fought Ryan, I didn't have any animosity. If you look at you look at any of my fights, I have a lot of them on Facebook, and you look the way I stare across the ring at people, I had venom in my eyes. I wanted to hurt people. And when you look at the way I look at Ryan Couture, I bow to him as my teacher, and I thank him for the lessons that I'm about to learn at his hand, hoping to teach him lessons too. Not saying that I'm going to go down. I know that's not in my heart. But I went into that fight as a different person than I've gone to the other fight. When I went in against Nunes, that was an angry, violent version of myself and unconnected. If I'd been connected in that fight, I broke his rib in a body triangle in the first round, and I had a mission that I catch in practice day in and day out, and people tap to all over the place, every belt. but it's not a traditional submission. It's not a submission that I've ever been taught. And I throw it on and I start squeezing and I think, oh, AJ Noon's the Elite XC World Champion. What are you doing? He's not going to tap to this made-up submission. And I let go and mounted and started punching. And he'd already stated that his ribs broke because I wasn't connected. And so learning to connect to my own being, to my own soul, that's where this journey is for me now. Like, originally fighting was to conquer fear, and I'm not afraid of anyone, you know. Call me retarded, but it's like, I know I'm fine. You know, I got rubber guard. You can't do damage from the top, and what are you going to do, kick my legs? George Gurgel blasted my legs. I'm still okay. You know?
Yep, he's got that 10th planet shit. Conor Heun, last question. Thank you for being the first MMA fighter and guest to volunteer himself to come on.
Yeah, tweet me the link. I'll blow it up.
Oh, yeah, it'll definitely, trust me. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people will eventually listen to this in history. But no, I just have one more question, word on the street. I did notice that you listed Rocky as one of your favorite movies, but you didn't specify which one. So every fighter,
new one,
every fighter has to have their favorite Rocky movie.
Balboa.
Yours is the last one, the new one?
I know it's horrible. I should pick one of the old ones, but I really like Rocky Balboa.
That's mine too, man. It's mine too, man. Honestly,
you know,
the
they
last
shot
one
that at the
was
bomb
legit.
squad where I started training in L.A.
It was like it's old Rocky going up against the John Jones, you know. I love it, dude. It was great. So that is your favorite. Good. We agree on that one. Ladies and gentlemen, Conor Heun, MMA fighter, Strikeforce fighter, I guess former Strikeforce fighter. We will see him again. He is on the mend. He's making his comeback. He is not ruling out another fucking fight, ladies and gentlemen, but no matter what he does, you want to pay attention.
You've never seen Conor Heun fight again, and you've never seen a fighter come out with his left hand in front again. You heard it here first.
Hell yeah, and he was completely honest. Thank you so much, Conor, for coming on. Shout out to you and everybody else. Do you want to give any shout outs or any quick Twitter plugs or anything?
I want to thank the guys at Fund Fighter. I want to thank all the 10th Planet affiliates who have offered up gym memberships for people who contribute to my Fund Fighter campaign. That's to cover the rehabilitative costs from the series of 3 surgeries I went through this summer. You can get a month limited of yoga at Core Power. You can get a month of unlimited chiropractic. You can get autographed gloves. We've got shorts. We've got basically everything. So check it out. fundafighter.com/fighters/Conor-Heun, or just go to fundafighter.com. I'm on the front page. Thanks, everybody. And 10th Planet of Life, rubber guard, no ground and pound. What?
Hell yeah. Conor Heun, ladies and gentlemen, straight up word on the street. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I will tweet out links to the Fund Fighter and to his Twitter after this all. Yeah, that was so great, just having him come on, break the news that Zuffa actually did come through. You know, they are paying for his fucking surgeries now. Thank God. That was like $250,000 shit going on there. That was like the difference between like life and death at some point. Thank you, Conor Heun. Definitely, that was very interesting. I didn't even get to ask him half the questions I fucking wanted to. So fucking just enthralled listening to him, and also stoned, you know. This is the Word on the Street podcast coming at you. But let's see if we still have any of our other co-hosts on there.